Good morning, everyone. July 22nd, 2018. Welcome. I'm Bruce Schwartz. Thanks for the interest. Another UFO on the surface of the moon. This one was very large, a shadow. And as we're going over top of it, we'll see, or should I say as it's passing by us, we will see its shape and its form. It was not going by at the speed of a UFO. It was going a lot slower, and it seemed to have been over the surface of the moon. But this would be probably pretty high, or maybe it was just a shadow I was seeing of a craft that could be invisible. Ever thought of that? When we see shadows on the surface, could these be what we are seeing of these invisible crafts? You're not going to tell me today of this day and age that invisible crafts do not exist after everything we've been seeing on the surface. So this is just a cool finding, another cool finding in not yesterday's footage, but the footage of the 20th. The 21st, yesterday. I did not get the moon, sadly. The Apennine Mountains here, as we're zooming into the Apennine Mountains. The line of light shows us a lot along the edges of the craters. It brings out detail because, of course, the surface has the same reflectivity. I say it all the time. It's just hard to differentiate the structures on the surface, right? Here's the Apennine Mountains, and when we zoom in, I'm looking also at the shadows on the surface of the moon, where often the shadows do not even follow. I mean, listen, guys, there's a mountain, a crooked mountain, and the shadow it's making is a straight line or a triangle sometimes a square. Why? Lights here in the darkness. Underneath, in the darkness of the shadows, and there's that shadow there. Why would there be oscillating lights in darkness? You know, you're not going to tell me it's just something reflective. There's oscillation, and it's a heat source where you can see the heat waves over top of these domes or craters on the surface of the moon. Tried to get some nice close-up shots of the edge, and this is recent footage. It's all footage of the 20th. I don't think I used any of the 19th, but possibly I could have, trying to show you guys as much as I can. I did accumulate a lot of footage, guys, and yeah, last night there was no rain, but it's the darn clouds that started while I was trying to get the moon, but that's okay. We'll get out there more during the week. The 27th, they say, leading up to the full moon, is the full moon. So from now, the 22nd to the 27th, sorry, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to get another day on the surface of the moon. I've been taking pictures every day for our timeline near the end of the month to see that line of light going through and over the surface of the moon. Of course, there's going to be some gaps because there are days that I will not, and I have not been able to get the moon. You know, it's like hunting, eh? It's the thrill of the hunt. You can find something or you can't. But it's going back every single chance you get, sitting there for an hour, holding your button, jogging the telescope to be able to remain in place. Guys, the moon is always moving. For those who don't know, and listen, don't feel stupid. I didn't know myself before I even got the telescope. I was like, why the hell is the moon moving so fast? People were asking me, why are you moving your telescope? Just stay in one place. We're not in one place. Everything's moving simultaneously in rotation. Speaking of simultaneous rotation, it really bugs me to see the moon moving over with the stars following it like they were all tied together. When you look back and listen in the olden days, even way back to Julius Caesar, everyone thought that we were in the center of the universe and that everything was revolving around us, including the sun and the stars. It's only normal you'd think that they would think that, because when I look at when I look at the moon at night and the stars, they're all moving in consideration together. They're all one object, like one object. Every single star in the sky is following this path. Like, I imagine sometimes all the planets and stars, and you can laugh all you want. It's been done, I'm sure. I can see all the planets and stars on these big, massive titanium beams, or sitting there just burning on this track as it's turning around, just like the old one they found in the olden days of all the universe and all the stars. There's this big old machine that was made to reproduce how the universe was turning and spiraling. It's amazing. This was ancient crafts, guys, okay? This is ancient archaeology. All these objects are more advanced than us. They're finding objects on the surface that are far more advanced than us. I think we are not the intelligent race. I think we're probably the dumbest race out there, and probably the one that's borderline from being like considered retarded. I mean, we're pretty bad when you think of it. And we think we're intelligent. We think we're all that. We think we're the only race in the universe. Well, of course, because that's the only way a system is going to be able to roll. Okay? If we were told there are many other, I don't know, gods or peoples or worlds and creations and dimensions out there, but you're going to listen to us here. You know, they don't want us to be too curious to seek away from Earth. Why? I don't know. Have you ever heard of anyone leaving Earth? Is it possible? Has someone actually left Earth before in a spaceship? I don't see why not. I don't see that as being ridiculous. When you look at all the possibilities of everything we're finding out, the secret is so huge. It's unbearable to think of. And this is why the secret and the lies continue, because it's impossible for one person, himself or herself, to prove to the world that all this is true. It's just too staggeringly huge. They tell us the people from the past, they were dumb. They didn't know what they were doing. You know, they ate in lead bowls and they put lead paint on their walls and they went nuts. You know, this is what I was told about the past, that they just didn't know anything. And now, the more we're getting into the future, the more we're seeing that science is proving and telling us that ancient technology could be far more advanced than our human technology. Because you are all my friends, I just want to share a loving message with you all. And I know for a fact I've met people that are petrified of even thinking about the fact that aliens could exist. And I want to reassure you people that if they are, and they are more advanced than us, they are probably a race that is not a violent or evil or aggressive race. You know, we think of all these aliens as being these fighters like we see in movies and stuff, but in reality, I think the aliens are being very careful when coming down here as, you know, sort of like arriving in a tribe. Take it as that example. The comparison of aliens visiting us would be like us finding an ancient tribe still living in the jungle, and we tried to go up to these people and talk to them. They'd chop your nuts off. They'd cut your head off and stick it on a stake and roast you like a pig. That's for sure. But why? Why is that? Well, it's because there's these level of intelligences with certain races and certain, you know, what you experience is going to be your intelligence. Do you understand what I mean by that? If you're held back from intelligence, from information, from truth, you're not going to advance in a way that you profit from the maximum of your learning. You're not going to learn anything. We're going to learn lies. We're going to try to understand things. So now we have terms today in history books and encyclopedias and dictionaries, so we don't have to use our own heads. We don't have to use our minds for anything. All the information is there. If you feel sick, you don't have to wonder what type of food is going to heal it. Just look it up online, right? So we have these data banks online of information, and there is no truth or lie written over anything that's on the internet, and we have to distinguish which is truth and which are lies, and it's not always easy. So the truth seekers who are trying to help the world find out truth, by no matter what the way they are doing that, you know, unorthodox or not, if the intentions are good, hey, I'm all for it and I encourage it. I think more people should, you know. We're living through an awakening. The whole universe is living through an awakening. I know this is bullshit for many of you, but for some of you it isn't, because it's real. And those of you who have had awakenings, real awakenings, will understand and will probably be able to relate with me. I've had a rude awakening, 2 or 3 of them. And every time I wake up a little bit more, I have a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on. It's complicated, guys. It's really complicated. You know, it's even written in all the books that, you know, we won't be able to talk to each other. That our you know, everything in the future is going to become jumbled, like making no sense and just weird. The world's going to go nuts.